So this is a bit of pre-aquascaping. It's a very good idea. Before you actually go gung-ho and put your rocks into the aquarium, what you can do is just mark your aquarium out and then plan it, because it's just so much easier to plan your aquascape in an environment like this. And even you could buy your rocks when you've ordered your tank, for example, and maybe you don't even have your tank, and you can play around with this and you can get some opinions off people. But the various things that I would want to be looking for when doing an aquascape is trying to minimize how much you're touching the bottom. So this is really quite good because you can get the gravel cleaner in and around. And then you want to really look at the way you're positioning your rocks, because what you don't want to do is have rocks on that position too much, or the corals just fall off it. You really want to have the rocks as flat as possible so you can put the corals on it. And then if there's a surface where you just can't put a coral, if it just doesn't want to, then your options are either glue the coral to it, but I actually prefer to just get some of the aquarium epoxy, and I'll make like a knob there and a knob over there, and that way you can use the knobs to anchor the coral on. And then once the knobs are there, if you need to move the coral, because maybe this one's growing and fighting with that one all of a sudden, then the knobs can still be used for other corals. So that's often my preference instead of gluing them. So you could do this, take some photos of it. You could then even muck it around and try something different. But I'm also a big fan of the spring clean. Now, what my reasoning for the spring clean is, you set this up, you make it look awesome, and then after a year, you've sort of seen it. After 2 years, you've sort of really seen it. So one thing that I just find totally invigorating every time I do it is, once you've sort of mastered this aquascape and it's full and you've loved it, and if you get to the point where you can walk past your aquarium, you don't have to look at it, what I'll actually do is a spring clean. And what a spring clean is I'll actually remove the rocks, remove the fish, clean all underneath, then put it all back completely different. So let's say this time we've got a nice big gully down here. Maybe next time we might either make one reef at the back, just whatever you do, just make it as different as possible to your last one. And then you can get rid of some corals you're not as fond on. It allows you to get corals that you may have not been able to get in the past. But the change is king. The change is the thing that makes you get back into it. You can get rid of that fish that's maybe annoying you. And so at the end of the day, your tank is there to entertain you. And if you can find that you can walk past it and you don't absolutely have to look at it, then doing a re-aquascape and a spring clean, I find is just the best thing to do. And the amount of crap you manage to get out when you do a spring clean, you'll find is absolutely horrifying.